Donald Trump made really just misogynistic comments last night to all women in the United States, a demographic that he is losing overwhelmingly. He is the first Republican nominee for president in modern history to be losing white women. First time. Congratulations, Donald Trump. I have that comment coming up. I have Kamala Harris's response to those misogynistic comments. I have an ad from the Harris campaign targeting those comments and more. A conservative magazine has endorsed Kamala Harris. I have all that coming up. But first, I have an ad that I don't think has gotten a lot of play targeting women that I think is a phenomenon that is going to carry Kamala Harris to the finish line. It is so smart. Let's watch it.
Your turn, honey.
In the one place in America where women still have a right to choose, you can vote any way you want. And no one will ever know.
Did you make the right choice?
Sure did, honey.
Remember, what happens in the booth stays in the booth. Vote Harris Walls. Vote Common Good is responsible for the contents of this ad.
Did you recognize that voice? That was Julia Roberts, and the ad was put on by Vote Common. It is to be running in swing states, and I think it's such an important message because women might not feel comfortable sharing their vote with their husband, but they might feel comfortable voting for the first female president who is guaranteeing their rights to be autonomous with their bodies, to have autonomy over the bodies. And so I think that is such a simple and effective message. And I'm so glad someone made that because I do think that is going to be such a big story that is told on November 6th, that there's going to be a lot of women who we're seeing all these Republicans who are voting in those early votes. They're like, why is all this Republican voting is up? Republican voting is up. It's like, well, let's see who those Republicans are voting for. Let's see who those Republicans are voting for. Because when Donald Trump is making statements like this, I have a hard time believing that women who, by the way, vote more than men are going to put this guy back into the White House.
And my people told me about 4 weeks ago, I was saying, no, I want to protect the people. I want to protect the women of our country. I want to protect the women. Sir, please don't say that. Why? They said, we think it's very inappropriate for you to say. I said, why? I'm president. I want to protect the women of our country. They said, sir, I just think it's inappropriate for you to say, pay these guys a lot of money. Can you believe it? I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them. And my people told me about 4 weeks ago, I was saying, no, I want...
Whether I'm going to do it, whether the women like it or not. So let's just talk about this for a second. I do have Kamala Harris's response next. But what Donald Trump is explaining there is his advisors are telling him that Donald Trump, when you are saying, women, I will be your protector, it is not polling well. We are talking to swing state voters. We're talking to women who are undecided, and they are saying that we do not like that message. It is creepy. We don't like it. And Donald Trump, because he is a narcissist and he believes he knows everything, says, no, I like how that sounds. It has to be right because I like it. I like how it sounds. And of course, the guy who is found liable for sexual assault and who has been incredibly accused of rape and sexual assault against many women would think that this is a good message, would continue doing it, even though he's been told it's not the right thing to say. And I do think it's extremely poetic that the way that this man might lose is by telling women that he's going to do something to them, whether they like it or not. And women are going to be the ones to tell him no in the best way possible. And here's Kamala Harris's response to those disgusting remarks. They're disgusting. She did not go as hard as I would have, but she has to be restrained. She's walking such a fine line in this campaign, and I think she's doing it perfectly.
I will comment on the former President Donald Trump's remark about women and whether they like it or not. And Listen, it actually is, I think, very offensive to women in terms of not understanding their agency, their authority, their right, and their ability to make decisions about their own lives, including their own bodies. And this is just the latest on a series of reveals by the former president of how he thinks about women and their agency. Whether he has said, as he has, that women should be punished for their choices, whether he has talked about his pride in taking away a fundamental right from women, whether it be how he has actually created a situation in America where now 1 in 3 women lives in a Trump abortion ban state and has legal restrictions on the right she rightly should have to make decisions about her own body.
Okay, so this is really smart for a million different reasons. One, so this came out at 10:07 a.m. Look at that time, 10:07 a.m. The next day. So Donald Trump did that on Wednesday. She says something on camera at 10:07 a.m. So what she's doing is turning this into another full day news cycle, because as soon as you add your response as a candidate, it gives it more life. It extends the news cycle of this bad moment. And so it's so smart that she waited to say something until the morning, and she did it on camera. And so now she's giving it like another 15 seconds in our news cycle. Very smart. And she's 100% going to mention it in her rallies too, which is going to give it more life. And so now Donald Trump, I'm sure, is going to be asked about this from reporters if he's put in front of reporters. I don't know if people put him in front of reporters anymore. And so they're not stopping there. They're also making an ad about it. I think this is a digital ad. I think it'll probably run on like Instagram and YouTube and stuff, but it's very, very smart. I would love to know what you think about it, but here it is.
They said, sir, I just think it's inappropriate for you to say. I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. 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 I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not.
Really good. And to the point. And so what that is this them going past all the different ways in which Donald Trump has negatively impacted women through his policies and his Supreme Court justice nominees. So, and the last big bit of news I have here is that a big conservative-leaning magazine endorsed Kamala Harris. The Economist says presidents do not have to be saints, and we hope that a second term for Donald Trump would avoid disaster, but he poses an unacceptable risk to America and the world. If The Economist had a vote, we would cast it for Kamala Harris. I don't know why they then put Donald Trump on the cover of the magazine. Like, why wouldn't you put Kamala Harris? Like, we're not voting. Don't vote for this guy, but here's his picture. What could possibly go wrong? Indeed, what could possibly go wrong? Maybe everything. The economy could crash. We would go into World War III because North Korea, China, and Russia would feel untethered by any sort of restriction, and Taiwan would 100% be invaded. Ukraine would fall, and I believe Russia would probably invade Ukraine, and we wouldn't stop them. We probably would align with them. So that is probably just a bit of what would happen. It is 5 days until the election. What are you doing to get out the vote? What are you doing? First off, did you vote? If you voted, leave a blue heart below. If you did not vote, you better vote. And if you're waiting until election day and you have a plan to vote, that is okay. That is fine. I'd rather you bank your vote for Kamala Harris now. But if you have a plan, I'm glad you have a plan. Get other people to vote. Get out the vote. This is it. This is the time to do it. And thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, hit like on the video. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. It's a great way to help the channel, and I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching.
I know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?